My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska with Keller Williams, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching in real estate. And today we're going to be talking about what makes a house sell in Alaska. This is going to be a prevalent question, I'm sure, if you are considering anything in real estate during the upcoming year. Before we get started, though, do make sure you get this video like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's go and jump into today's video. Now, the biggest thing that you need to be aware of right off the bat of what makes a house sell is going to be that pricing is paramount. We can do all the marketing in the world. I could sponsor a Super Bowl ad and put that out there. I could have a blimp flying over the entire continental U.S. I could hire an entire fleet of blimps to go over the entire U.S. But ultimately, if your price doesn't make sense, based on what the numbers are showing us and based off the feedback, a property is not going to sell. A lot of people will know about it, and that's just going to increase the number of people who are going to ultimately end up rejecting it, though, if they don't like the price. So this is very empowering for you as a seller because that means that the decision about how the property sells ultimately comes down to the decision you make on this critical point. So that's number one. Pricing is going to be one of the most important things. The second most important thing for getting a property to sell is making sure the condition is on point. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go in and do all these brand new remodels, updates, backsplashes and, solid wood floors all the way through, all this crazy stuff. It is saying, though, that you should for sure, if you have the ability, throw up a fresh coat of paint. You want to make sure that the property presents as good as it can based on the remodel that you currently have in there. So it's not saying you need to go in and completely gut the place. If you have the ability, awesome, not expecting any kind of a return on that. And you should go ahead and just try to fix it up as best you can and make sure it presents in a good light. And new coat of paint, new lights everywhere, cleaning off the light fixtures. You'd be surprised just how far just these really simple things can go to increasing what it is you're going to be getting at the bottom line. The third most important thing for helping you to get your property sold is to actually make sure that you spend a little bit of time and focus on the staging. Now, staging does not necessarily mean that you have to go and hire a professional to come in and bring in like their own furniture, and you have to, have this, this perfect setup and this perfect layout all planned out with all the color schemes and everything. You certainly can. If that's something you love doing, go right ahead. For most homes, it's going to be overkill. What I would recommend is make sure that you have, make sure we've got fresh paint if you can. I know there's some people, they have like a lot of kids running around and life is crazy, and that may or may not be practical, but if you can, make sure you've got the fresh coat of paint up there. After that, you want to make sure the property is cleaned up, and that should be pretty obvious, but you want to make sure all the counters are all cleared off. You don't have any knickknacks laying around. Nobody wants to walk in and see your mail scattered out all over the place. Have all the cabinets and everything all wiped down. Make sure also that you have new light bulbs and light fixtures throughout if that is necessary. On the light fixtures, for sure, you want to have the light bulbs switched out on everything just to make sure that it has as much light in there as possible. During the summertime, it's not the most important thing. During the wintertime, it definitely does move up on the hierarchy of importance, though. So make sure that you get that done. Additionally, you want to make sure that you start taking down as much of the family photos and try to depersonalize it as much as possible. When you move into a place, you want to make it yours and make it as personal as possible, and you want to do the exact opposite when you're staging. You want to give someone the impression that they can walk into the house and they can instantly start visualizing themselves there and invite them to do that. And it is very difficult to do that when they walk in and they see you with the family photo from 2019 from when the family went to the Grand Canyon. Okay, so you want to try to depersonalize as much as you can when you're staging your property. But let's go and take a break real quick. For those who've been watching for a little bit, you do know that I host the Alaskan Journey podcast, interviewing people who have recently moved up here to Alaska and people who have lived up here for a long time. If you would be interested in being featured on that podcast and just talking about your experience, I would love to have you. So feel free to reach out to me on my website or the Facebook link down below. Let's chat a little bit and see if we can make it happen. Now, let's go and finish up today's video. So we got two more tips here for you. Number one is make sure that you have a negotiating strategy that's actually going to get the job done. And by that, I mean that there's definitely a perception, a stereotype of negotiations that I've noticed really cropping up recently, where you have to just be this hard driving, very high D personality that is just really kind of unbearable. Really, like everything is like my way or the highway, and it's just grinding the other side down into the dirt. Usually, that is not very effective in reality at all, and it's just going to inspire way over the top resistance, and it's going to make the other side completely shut down on you and not willing to make any kind of concessions whatsoever. And it's not going to help you accomplish what it is that you're wanting to do. When you're looking at negotiations, really it's important to identify what in the world it is that you're wanting to accomplish. And make sure that you are, willing to, I'm not going to say assist, but willing to not fight over every little thing once you've accomplished that. Unfortunately, I've seen this is definitely the case with a lot of newer agents that are coming in just kind of with this, what's the word? I'm going to say this almost brutish approach, where it's like the thought is that you're just going to run right over the top of everybody, and you're just going to force your negotiations on everybody, and that very rarely works. Even if you get away with it in one instance, guess what? They're looking for an opportunity to get you on the very next time, and chances are they're going to find some excuse or some reason to, and you really engage a lot more emotions than you need to in the process. So the big thing on negotiations is we make sure that we are focused on results first, let the other side get emotional, but we focus on results. That being said, though, there are definitely times where you have to kind of have that brutish our way or the highway approach. I don't particularly enjoy it myself personally, but every now and then the other side, they are bullies, and occasionally you have to figuratively punch the bully between the eyes to get them to back off and get them to start acting reasonably again. So occasionally there is a time and a place for it, but it's very, very rare, and it's not something that is by any means the default setting in negotiations in my experience. Most agents, slash licensees, as they are known as up here, are usually going to understand that, and they understand that the people that they're doing business with, they're going to have to do business with in the future, and so they're going to maintain good professionalism, maintain those relationships, because ultimately it helps their clients better. If I have somebody in the industry I am avoiding just because I know doing a deal with this person is a nightmare, that probably just really hurt that person's client, just because the number of people willing to do deals with that person is kind of a short list. So you can see why it's such a practical thing that we're not trying to have that stereotype, cartoonish facade of being this really hard-nosed, tough negotiator on every little point. All right, moving on from negotiations, the final thing that's going to help your property to sell is making sure that we have a solid marketing plan in place. So marketing is something that every agent is going to say they are an expert in, and it kind of hurts my soul a little bit when I hear it, because with most agents, their marketing scheme is we're going to put it on the MLS, and that's going to be our marketing. And sometimes it can be that simple, and it certainly doesn't need to be the final stop for how far it needs to go. That can be pretty effective, and sometimes it's going to require more marketing. It's going to require more presence on Facebook, social media, all these groups that are out there, video, how we're going to integrate it in with Google and YouTube ads, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So if flyers, all that stuff, kind of the telemarketing, almost talking with people in the area, there's a lot of different layers of marketing that you can really explore in making sure that as many people know about the property as possible. And we really want to make sure that we leave no stone unturned, because I've gotten buyers before with open houses. I've gotten buyers before with flyers. I have gotten a lot of buyers through like social media and these ads online talking about specific properties. But the point is, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket and just completely forego all the results that we could possibly get through another lead generation source. So this is going to be my list of the things that are going to make your house sell. I sure hope it's been useful. If it has, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.